So hi guys, I'm really thankful to be here, and I think it's actually the biggest crowd where I was able to see the people. Yeah, you normally if you have a bigger stages, they normally make it this way that you can see the people, and you're like, okay, maybe it's a couple hundred people, but what do I know? I'm just talking to, you know, a random crowd. And here I really love it. You can see the people, you can see it in the eyes, and really, you know, I hope also to see that, you know, if something gets too boring, I'll change. I try to adapt, because part of you know, marketing success is adapting pretty quickly. Yeah. So let me know. Just, you know, do the normal. Then I'll speed up or change the topic. So when I was talking to Hugo about, you know, what could be interesting for you guys, kind of, we said, okay, performance marketing is interesting, but, you know, on the one side, it very much changes pretty quickly, as you know. Yeah. So if I would tell you a story like, oh, what Zalando did 7 years ago, that might be a good story, but it has changed and you couldn't replicate it. So I thought about what would be a way to kind of systematically do that. Kind of, what are the 3 things, you know, I have friends that are consultants and they told me it's always 3 things. Yeah? So 3 things is always the answer. So what 3 things really make a difference, and what's really the thing that, you know, differentiates a company that, you know, has huge success, grows massively, and, you know, other companies that might do a good job, but, you know, are not the real breakouts. So I'll try to make this one short. Just, you know, I think and in the introduction, you know, was already said, okay, I worked for Rocket Internet. I was there. I was very lucky that, you know, when I started there, it was not considered to be, you know, this is the place you have to be for your CV or anything. It was just one of the few companies where you could have, you know, real experience and bigger budgets. Yeah? So that was the main thing, plus working globally, because I started first for a company that, you know, here, where is it, Smava, that, you know, was doing only stuff in Germany, then worked at eDarling that were, you know, working on a European scale. That was, you know, a great company to work for. And then at Rocket we were able to work globally. And as Hugo said, nowadays I work for e.ventures, and I'm really happy that this is a split role. So split means, you know, I still do a lot of growth, I still do a lot of performance marketing, and I'm not only doing the investments, because even if it sounds great to be, you know, an investor, to many people it can get boring, because you're never really active. Yeah, so you're always kind of looking out for, you know, people and kind of saying, oh, this might not work. So it's actually very interesting to compare when you are a founder, an entrepreneur. You have to be optimistic, yeah? Because you have to believe on yourself. If you're an investor, you always look for, oh, why? I'm not sure if this is going to work, and I have, you know, tons of startups where I can choose. So I try to keep the entrepreneurial part alive, even if I'm an investor. So I just chose a couple of examples in the past that, you know, kind of were giving me some insights or some story. And on the left side in the corner you see Groupon, and Groupon was probably the most craziest company I was witnessing or part of creating, because like in a short time frame, you know, they hired 10,000, maybe not 10,000, but thousands of people. They were active in 45 countries, and they did marketing centrally, and in also like countries where we're not even sure if Google or Facebook would be alive. Yeah? So kind of we were in Azerbaijan and kind of finding out how do these weird E's that are, I hope no one is here, but from Azerbaijan, but they have Azari, and obviously they have, you know, different language skills. Yeah? And at Groupon there was one story that was very interesting. Normally you do performance marketing very tailored, and you say, okay, I'm looking for someone that wants to buy this shoe, and so I buy this and this keyword, or I do this and this targeted Facebook campaign. But at Groupon there was a funny incident. I was talking to our representative at Google, and they said, you know, our other advertisers are complaining. I was like, okay, Why are they complaining? Yeah? And they said, because their campaigns are not getting delivered anymore. It's like, okay, well, why do you tell me that? Is that just a story? And said, yeah, because you're booking everything that is there on the Brazilian, Google Display Network. Yeah? And it was very interesting to see, because from a standard performance marketing sense, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, you should target. But they created this. If it's everywhere, it must be something interesting and worth talking to. Yeah? So that was, for me, kind of first counterintuitive, but it made a lot of sense, and everyone was like, okay, this must be really a thing. So you can create a buzz, sometimes even with pure marketing dollars. And on the other hand, it's also a good example for me, like with many things didn't work out well. Yeah, so the culture was not that great, especially if you worked in the sales department and you wouldn't deliver, you would be kicked out. So for me, in retrospect, it's not only a good example. Yeah, so I learned also many things how to not do it. Yeah. So we're very lucky to have a couple of former Vimdo people here in the room as well. So this is an example of showing. This is a visibility index. So a visibility index shows you how well do you rank on a search engine. Yeah? So the better rank, the higher the index gets. Yeah? So, and here it was really interesting to see that Vimdo outperformed Airbnb by far. Yeah? So you could say they have done a tremendous job in online marketing. But if I would ask you guys now, who has used Airbnb in the past? Just a little. Okay, nice. Who has used Vimdo? Okay, 2, 3, 2.5, yeah, 3.5. So this kind of shows you that even if you have, and I'm obviously a big believer in the importance of online marketing, performance marketing, if you don't get your product right, if you don't have your unit economics right, you can have the best marketing, it will still not work. Yeah? So this was really where it's sometimes frustrating if you work on that and see all the success, but still it was not great. And people ask me, I mean, what was it what Vimdo was not good at? And it's probably a very long, complicated answer, but one thing that was very obvious was Rocket was not very good in creating this sense of community. Yeah? The community is not in an Excel sheet. You cannot really execute easily on it, and that was definitely something they were not great at. So Zalando for me here, obviously a big success overall. This picture of, I hope I pronounce her name right, Cara Delevingne or so a top model that worked for one of their campaigns. I think it was an ASOS, was it ASOS campaign? Yeah, I think an ASOS campaign coming, you can, no, what? Sorry, a Topshop campaign, obviously ASOS is a competitor, yeah? So a Topshop campaign, and this was really interesting from a performance marketing perspective. This lady was able to say 6,000 different German cities, yeah? So she would say, Topshop is now also available in Mönchengladbach. Topshop is now also available in da-da-da. And they would target these campaigns especially for people in these areas. And you can imagine, how well the click-through rate were, how well the viral effect were, because people were like, wow, a top model talks about my little city, yeah? So this was really a way of saying this is individualized, online marketing, at its best. Yeah. So I think I have to speed up a little. Yeah. So kind of saying, what are the 3 pillars of growth? Yeah. So in the end, you always need really good people. Yeah. And I'm not talking about only you have to have MBA, Harvard, people. Yeah. I mean, you need people that are committed, that know what they want to do, and you need people that are, or at least you need a lot of people that are data-driven and understand the mechanics. So then in the second step, you need a strategy, because I'm always amazed, even if you have, brilliant people in the room, if it's not clear, where they want to go, yeah, still, the results are often mediocre. And that doesn't mean, you as founders or potential founders need to know it right away, but you have at least, after all these brainstorming sessions, you have to come together and focus. And even with big successful companies, I sometimes, see this is not happening. And actually it's something, at least from an online marketing perspective, you can get pretty fast a sense for if a company knows where they want to go. Yeah. So, and for me, it's an easy test of, asking, you know, what is a new customer worth for you? Do you know how much you make with a customer? Yeah? So you might have heard of this equation: customer acquisition cost has to be smaller than customer lifetime value. Yeah? So, and if a company is not able to tell you, okay, where are my potential customers? How do I want to attract them? You know, what is the right way? Then there is probably a lack of often focus and strategy. And then the third is kind of, you need to have the right tools. And with tools, I mean a broad set. It also includes the right technology. Yeah? So I would say we have done a test in e.ventures, where especially in the US, where we try to, I mean, we're always trying to find great companies, and we try to do it the other way around. We're looking for signals, kind of, is there a pattern, like a pattern recognition of successful companies? Huh? And it's not an easy task, but one of the findings was that you can see great companies always have a very specific tech stack, yeah? So the technology they are using. Huh? And that's, I mean, if you think about it, it's if you have really great engineers or really great online marketers, they know which are the best tools out there and they use it. And this is something you can see partially from the outside. Like I can check what analytics tool do they use. I can check what marketing automation tool they use. I can check, you know, what frameworks do they work with. Yeah? So this is also a hugely important topic. So I already talked a little bit about the people part. I think it's really it's really a mindset question. Please try to hire people that have I call it flexible minds. Yeah, so that are able to understand something, adapt it, and are also fine with changing these ideas. Yeah, so. I've worked with people that have, you know, more experience than myself, and, you know, I admire them for many things, but they at some point would say, oh no, we have done that before, always this way. Yeah? So, and that's why we do it like this. And this just doesn't work. Also, when people come to me, how should a perfect website look like, or landing page? I say, I don't know. Yeah, it really depends. But what I can tell you is a way how you find out which one is the best. Yeah, it's kind of a framework of finding out, of testing. And you need these people that have this flexible mindset, that have analytical knowledge. And with analytical, I don't mean someone that needs to, you know, have studied math. It's just someone that, you know, is open for reasoning, is open for, you know, asking the right questions and then analyzing the results. Yeah. And with all the, you know, analytical part, I still think it's very critical to have people that are, you know, talkative, open to talk to other people, because if everything changes so fast, you have to be sure you understand what the others are doing. Yeah? And I'm not only talking about looking what your competitors is doing, but also what's happening in other industries. And that's, you know, why I still go to conferences. This is why I still read other, you know, other people's blogs, why I'm interested in talking to them. Yeah, I think about the strategy part, we you know, talked already a little bit. It's also, strategy for me is not something for only founders or top management. Obviously, it's more for them, but it also needs, if you want that your company strives, everyone, okay, I saw someone that eyes were closing. Okay, strategy is done. Okay, so tools. Okay, yeah. So it's really about involving the people. Yeah. So if you want to make sure, you know, at least some parts of your strategy are being really put in place, you have to make your team part of that. And sometimes it feels intuitive, because you say, I already know where I want to go. Why should I make this process a team-wide effort? It's because that's the only way people will make it part of their strategy, part of their mission. Yeah? And for a founder, it sometimes feels like it's a waste of time in the beginning, because I already know where to go. Yeah? But it makes it so much easier if you make it a group effort, group strategy. And I think many founders, you know, forget that. And then obviously it's kind of, also, I mean, it should be normal, but track what you want to achieve and kind of measure yourself where you're going. And even if it's something that is not easy to measure, try it. Get at least close to it. Yeah. So, and it doesn't matter if you use OKRs or other fields. It's more that you do it. Yeah. So. So tools, I mean, it's not a random list. It's tools that I work with, but it's definitely not a list that, you know, kind of is, that's it. Yeah. But it kind of gives you a good impression of, I would say that's probably a third of the tools that I use probably in a week. Yeah. So it's even more tools that we use with our portfolio companies, that I use when I do my research. And I didn't put this slide, but you've probably seen this where there are 5,000 marketing technology companies. Yeah, so it's really a lot. Yeah? So in this process of making the right decision, which tool you want to choose is crucial, because it makes it sounds first like a small difference, but if you have a CRM system that, you know, takes 3 months to implement, these might be the 3 months, you know, you're missing at the end. Let's say you're a VC-backed company for runway, yeah, where you might say, okay, 3 months would have really saved my my startup. So this is a process that, you know, hello Ines. Yeah. Yeah. This is a process where it's about finding out where and I ask myself, where do I have to start actually? Yeah? Because it's this kind of, there's no end in beginning, and you can actually start, you know, wherever you want. Yeah. So let's say you start here with testing. Yeah? So you have a couple of tests, and find out, okay, my goal is to implement a new product. Yeah. Let's say you already have one and you want to expand. So you put this new product out there, you have a couple of landing pages, maybe a new app under a new name to test it. Then you analyze and optimize. And here's the point where many people get really disappointed. Yeah? So let's say it's a marketing campaign and you see, wow, a new customer for this new product costs me 400 euros, yeah? But I only make 200 euros revenue with it. Yeah? So, and often people stop and are disappointed. But in online marketing, this is not a one-shot game. It's really, if I see 400 euros, my question is like, how much time does it cost me to drive this down to a good level? Yeah? So I measure then the weeks. Let's say in 3 weeks I was able to go from 400 to 300. In another I was able to go to 200. Yeah? So that shows me that there is so much more room for improvement. Yeah? At many of these gatherings I hear words like, oh, Facebook didn't work for me. No? I mean, there is a slight chance that this is right, but I would say Facebook should work for everyone if you do it right. Maybe not, you know, at scale, but doesn't work for me normally means I haven't tried hard enough that it's going to work. Huh? And then, you know, you iterate, you prioritize, and then you measure again. And then you come up with, you know, kind of these growth metrics where you can then, you know, build a real plan. And if you're then a bigger company, that's when like a bigger VC comes in and says, okay, now I fully understand, you know, your metrics, and then it's just kind of pumping in money to repeat this. This is what many VCs said. Do you already have a playbook? Yeah, that's how I also envision it. Yeah, so saying, okay, now you have tried it out, you know it works. I'm just gonna put in more money. Please do more of the, you know, kind of things that work. So I already talked a little bit about testing and this ability of having a mindset. Yeah? And imagine you start with a test and you look at this number. This number says 8 out of 10 tests will fail. Yeah? I mean, what could that mean? If you do 10 tests, it means 10 tests are very likely that there's no positive results. Huh? And you as a founder, or, you know, someone that really wants to make sure that this company is growing, have to make sure that you say, okay, even if 10 tests didn't work, I don't stop. Yeah? And even if it's hard, yeah? And I'll talk a little bit about growth hacking. This is the hardest to make sure you don't stop, because it doesn't feel good. You want to do something and then get recognition, or then you want to say, oh wow, this worked, I want to do more of that. But it's probably like salespeople always, I don't know, get in their trainings. Yeah? I've never been to one of their shows, but this is how I imagine it, like, oh, 10 doors slammed, or 10 people, you know, didn't pick up, but number 100 is going to do it. Yeah, so this is a little like this with testing. So this is not the most prettiest chart, but people always ask me, is there something tangible I can take home? And this is one thing that we created internally, nothing fancy, but you can download it. And what does it what does it do? It helps you to prioritize what you want to test. And you can use that, you know, for many things. You could also use it for, you know, in which countries do I want to go, or which marketing campaigns do I want to do. So it kind of shows you, you know, where does it work? Is it something for desktop? Is it for your app? You know, is it for, you know, the overall side? Is it only for a different fraction? Then it shows you whom is it impacting? Is it the whole audience? Is it part audience? And then it shows, then you have to fill in what's the effort to get that. What's the back-end effort? What's the front-end effort? And then you can say, what's the impact? Yeah, what do you believe is the impact? And then you get a ranking. And you can agree as a team, okay, these are the top 5 things we should focus on in the next 3 months. And even if this sounds like an exercise that it's totally clear and makes sense, I see really many companies that test more like, oh, have you tested a pretty woman versus, I don't know, XYZ, yeah, a smiling, yeah, someone smiling on it, yeah, without having these hypotheses and prioritization processes. Yeah, then kind of it goes through the whole thing, and in the end you have a monetary score where you can then rank the whole thing. Yeah. And obviously these are estimates because it's a test, you don't know, but if you're strict and kind of, you know, true and honest to yourself, this is really something that can help you. So always there's the question like, what kind of channels should I use? And this is also just a way, a methodology to kind of go through. And I think the next chart is actually this one. Yeah, so this one is, I created that already a couple years ago, but I hope it's still, you know, halfway relevant. Huh? So if you think about what's your first goal, yeah, and I like to take also a Rocket Internet story when some of you might remember Glossybox, yeah? Or the US equivalent was called Birchbox. Yeah? So they were sending cosmetics in a package to you every month in a subscription basis. And they were the first ones doing that in Europe. So from a marketing perspective, that means there was no demand for it. Yeah? No one was saying, oh, I want a subscription for small cosmetics. Yeah? So search marketing doesn't work. Yeah? Many other marketing channels don't work. So this for me was an example of you need to educate the people. Yeah? You need to tell them this is what you need. Yeah? So, and then other channels are the end of that. Yeah? So display, social especially, I mean Facebook, Instagram are great for new products where people don't even know that they might need this. Yeah? But on the other hand, you know, if you are a shoe store, then, I mean, I wouldn't recommend starting a shoe store now, but if you would, yeah, then it's more, you know what you want. There are channels already that can help you, yeah? So there are many people looking for shoes. There are many platforms that have this topic. Therefore, other channels apply. On the left side, you obviously also have to consider, you know, are you a Rocket Internet that, you know, can spend tens of millions, or are you rather a bootstrap company that also makes other channels more attractive? Then also, especially for companies that have limited capital resources, it's also a smart way of looking, okay, who do I have? Yeah? I mean, it's great if social media would be the best channel for me, but you know, I have very analytical people that have no clue how social media works, then this might not be the best channel for you. Yeah? So it's kind of looking in, you know, whom do you have? Yeah, not for the long term. Obviously, you will hire the right people, but for short to midterm, it's also very relevant to look at what kind of resources do you have. Yeah, I think that's the same, or these are examples of, okay, what you could do. Ooh, these are really small. Huh? No, just kidding. So I think there are a couple of ways how to make sure that your ads are perceived as something that is valuable. Yeah, one we talked about already earlier. That is the right targeting. The other one is that you make sure that you realize which campaigns show what traction, and then kind of double down on them. Let's say you have 3 campaigns and you realize this one has, you know, a lot better engagement, then you focus on them. And like Facebook or other engines, also Google, they already do that partially themselves, like self-optimizing budgets, but it's still worth trying to do it themselves. And then it's also something about, let's take this example of marketing automation. Yeah? So if you at some point say, okay, I need so much content, yeah, because I want to compete with the big guys that have the big budgets, then you have to outsmart them, yeah. So, and I used, for example, a company when I was working with Zalando and their Southeast Asian, they're not subsidiaries, but kind of Zalando in Southeast Asia, Zalora. Then they were saying, okay, I need to automate this process. And the company ex-CMO, for example, helped them a lot. And that means if you onboard this tool and if you onboard this company, you can create, you know, hundreds of thousands of texts immediately. Yeah? So this is something, and you know, I don't know how much I don't know anymore how much it costs, but it's not even close to be as much what you would have to pay for yourself. So yeah, this is, as I said, you know, this calculator is downloadable. And then what we also did, because many people ask, okay, if I know now I want to hire, let's say, a performance marketer or someone in that field, how do I find out that this is the right person? Yeah? So we created a little manual of where you can see what kind of question should you ask, and then obviously if you don't know yourself, it also shows you a little bit of advice of was that a right answer or a wrong answer, yeah? Because otherwise you ask smart questions but cannot you know, adjust that. Huh? So I think these were the main kind of resources and yeah, kind of messages and tools that I've experienced. I know it's kind of hard to put it in, you know, a short presentation, but I hope you gained a little bit out of that. And I had one more thing that, and not like the Apple one more thing, but really something that means a lot to me, because it's great to be, you know, a successful entrepreneur, but we're all very privileged. Yeah. So just being here, living here in this part of the world, makes us privileged. Yeah? It does not matter if you're an intern or a founder or investor, just by that fact. Yeah? So I always think also about, is there any like social impact you as a founder or potential founders can do? So I found out about Founders Pledge, I think now 2 years ago. And what they do is it's always a lot easier if you commit to something that you don't have yet. If I were to ask you, hey, are you willing to donate 1,000 euros right away? Then you feel this pain. Yeah, it's a psychological thing. You already have these 1,000 euros, so you don't want to give it away. But if you pledge something in the future, it's a lot easier. Let's say, oh, if I'm going to be successful, then I'm going to give 10% of the returns to a better cause. And this is what Founders Pledge does. They help to make sure you really do this. Yeah? So you commit, and if you're successful, when you sell your company, when you have a success, then kind of they ask you, okay, you committed to it, please now let's go through the process of doing it. I did it myself, and I sold, I was a co-founder of an online marketing agency called Trust Agents, and we sold it last year, and I committed for 6%. And then at this, I still have to be honest, I still had this feeling a little bit of, oh man, 6%, yeah, maybe why didn't I write 2% or 3%? But you just have to do it the other way around. Yeah, it's kind of, oh, 94% for myself is still a lot. And it felt right, and can only encourage you, and it does not need to be with Founders Pledge. You can also do this with your friend or with your co-founders. Just make sure before the successes you do this, yeah, because then it's easier. Yeah. So this was these were my last words on the presentation, and now I'm looking forward to having a good Q&A session. Thank you.
Yo, yo, yo.
So, take a couple, well, a few questions. Who wants to go first? There you go. I knew it was going to be you.
Thank you for your talk. It was really cool to see this side of the business because I'm a really technical guy. But I was wondering, do you have any special tips on business-to-business marketing?
Yeah, so I actually see, I would say our portfolio consists now of 1/3 of B2B companies. And there it's actually, I would say, the lead generation part there are many similarities to what you do in B2C businesses. Yeah? So it's still about the right targeting, it's about the right messaging, it's about some other platforms are there, obviously. And the major difference actually comes a step later, when it's about the connection between marketing and sales. And there I would say the tips is, there is a great, especially in the US, there are great tools out there that make it easier to generate leads and then to kind of funnel them through. Unfortunately, not all of these tools are allowed to use in Europe, but there are a couple that are, okay, still with the new data privacy regulation, and I would make use of them. Huh? And another advantage is I see many things that started 10 years ago in B2C are just starting in B2B, maybe like they started 1 or 2 years ago. So it's a big leverage actually in that field. So I also encourage, even if it's often not as sexy as B2C business because it's harder and people don't understand what it's about, I encourage you to also look into these these fields. Huh. Yeah, sure. So one is, for example, it's a method where you find out who has visited your website, and you then see kind of from which company they are, and sometimes even can show like which person or which department they are from. Let's say you have that information. You still cannot, call them and say, hey, I spied on you and know you're on my website. But what you can obviously do with LinkedIn targeting, saying, okay, I know someone from Porsche was on my website, probably from the marketing department. Maybe they have 100 people, so I target all of them on LinkedIn, and I know one of them was this person that was already, very much interested. Or you kind of reach out, even if I like LinkedIn, there are some tools, even if you're in the German markets with Xing, that work better. They have a feature. They have a feature where you can publish events, and everyone that is looking at these event pages, you get their profile name. Yeah. So this is like there are a couple of, kind of trends where you have what's the right word? I think it's called depersonalized. Ines, what is it? De-anonymisierung auf Deutsch. Yeah. So de-anonymification. Yeah. So these are great words, kind of to find out. Yeah, you're just a little smarter and closer to your target group. That's it.
Hi, thanks for your talk. I know that recently there's a lot of sort of, talk about digital and growth, and it's such an easy channel and it's so much faster and cheaper to set up than offline. But what kind of role do you think offline still plays in sort of growth in terms of awareness, brand building, and sort of, getting exposure through non-digital channels?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and it's kind of the holy grail to connect these two. And at Rocket, obviously, we also did, TV, out of home, other campaigns. Our portfolio companies do that as well. I think sometimes if you do something that is contradictory to what others do, it helps. Let me give you an example of this Monday. I received a mail, from Snail Mail, with a pitch. Yeah? So it was a pitch. It was saying, this is my company, this is what I do, and I saw you are speaking. I think on Friday there's the startup, what is it called, Startup Expo here in Berlin. Yeah. So why don't we meet each other? Yeah. So this was a way of saying it was different than what everyone else would be doing, and it kind of caught my attention. Or there is a company there called Pensaki, and they send out mailings that are or appear to be handwritten. And conversion rates are tremendously good because, who gets handwritten mails? Yeah? So these are maybe on the traditional side of mailings. On the other hand, TV, luckily, is, I would say, if you spend more than 100K, you're able to kind of measure the impact. So that's a good one. And I think probably in 5 to 10 years, we will not think about on or offline. Yeah, it's just integrated marketing campaigns. But I think most of the companies, especially the bigger ones, are not there yet because just the people are divided like that. Huh? So.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. Anything about the PR and how that plays into the mix?
Yeah, so I think like traditional old school sending out press releases doesn't make sense at all. But if you have an integrated story, yeah, and this is it's again a stereotype, but when I'm with our US team and meet founders, they always tell you a story. You never know if it's true, but you can remember them, yeah? So, and for this, obviously, PR or nowadays, I mean, there are so many words, but a mix of content marketing, PR, and feeding this into influencers often works very well. And I think especially, you know, maybe coming back to your B2B questions, there it's really, you know, not many companies do it, especially when you have a, you know, smaller target audience. You can really be top of mind with, you know, smaller PR/content marketing campaigns. One of our portfolio companies did a great job. They're called segment.com, and they were owning like Quora and all these fields. So anyone that was looking for stuff, you would find them, yeah? And this is also, you can say it's an outreach or PR or content marketing campaign, but it just works. Huh?
So growth being sort of amorphous concept for a lot of companies, it seems that a lot of them, even like large ones or small ones, tend to struggle with the execution, the organization of actually of growing. They might have the right people, they might have the right tools and the right strategy, but like they haven't really found a way to sort of organize people around the concept of growth. In your experience, is there a right move for that? Is it organizing people into tribes or chapters or squads or whatever you want to call them? Is it having a centralized growth team, or is there no really real right answer?
So one of the toughest questions, I would say. So we have at least one portfolio company where I know of that use the holacracy model, like where you say kind of this model of no classical hierarchies. They're Blinkist here from Berlin, and it really works very well for them. But I think you have to have the right founders that really want to live a concept like that. Yeah? And with growth, especially when you have someone that has it in the title, they're often not liked, because what does it mean? They always ask questions. Yeah? So they always ask, can we do this better, that better? They go to the CTO and say, hey, why can't we do even more tests? Why can't we do X, Y, that? They go to the marketing people and say, hey, we got to change this and this. So this is conceptually a job that even if everyone knows it's hugely important, you get a lot of, you annoy people. Yeah? And people don't like to annoy someone, and even more, others don't like to be annoyed. Yeah? And I think that's why many companies fail with that, because yeah, you don't want to be that guy that, you know, says, yes, we have 10 tests, all of them failed, but let's do number 11. Yeah? So that's at least one of the observations I have made. Yeah.
Thanks. Two quick questions. First, how do you decide how to stop a when to stop a marketing channel? For example, in our case, we really tried very hard to use LinkedIn in-mailing and offline mailings as well, and the results are really frustrating. And how do you decide when to stop this?
So a little earlier I said this kind of, I had a campaign with €400 customer acquisition costs, and then, you know, I'm still, you know, believing in this campaign because I see, you know, there's a steady decline in customer acquisition costs. And if I come to that point that, you know, it's just not going under 200, and I need to, you know, to be profitable or whatever, what my goal is, I need to be at 100, then I would stop. That's one answer. And the other one is, let's take your example of LinkedIn InMail. I would think about, is there a way? I mean, often LinkedIn InMail doesn't work because it's too expensive. Yeah. So if it would be 10 times cheaper, would work. So can I get the same out of LinkedIn 10 times cheaper? I would say yes. Yeah, it's just a question of how do you do it. One of the LinkedIn hacks, like, is at the moment video. Yeah, so they love new videos, and I did some people. I mean, the people that follow me have maybe seen out of the last 5 posts, 2 or 3 of them are videos, and you get so much exposure because the LinkedIn algorithm loves videos. The only thing is you have to upload them yourself, so don't link to a YouTube file. So that's one where you could use LinkedIn differently. Then there are, for example, tools that, and they are maybe a little bit on the gray hat side, that visit other profile pages, yeah? Because one of the things people always want to know, oh, who looks at my page, yeah? So, and even no one admits doing it every day, but maybe some do, yeah? I know some people at LinkedIn and they tell me people use that feature. So, let's say you have a way of visiting the people that you want to engage with. There is a high likelihood that roughly 5% of them will come to your own LinkedIn profile. And if you then have the right message there, that might be a way, yeah? So this is how I try to solve these questions. Huh?
Thanks. And second short question, in terms of, you already talked about content marketing.
Yep.
It's always obviously very long-term game to build this up. How do you decide when to externalize this, to use an agency, so to outsource it, sorry, or to hire somebody really great to build up this whole thing from the scratch internally?
It depends on like how complicated is the content, yeah? So the easier it is for externals without having the knowledge of what your company is doing, the better it is to outsource, yeah? So if you want to write about, you know, an Adidas shoe, I think many people can do that, yeah? So I remember at Segment, they tried to outsource some of their content. Well, it was really shitty, yeah? So because having someone external write about how to build a multi-layer dimensional system, plug in all the different data analytics tools is just too complicated. So I think this is one way, and then it's a very traditional, you know, business question, you know, costs versus results. But I think the more important one is is it possible for external ones to really do it?
Last one. I'm not going to stop. Last one. Nothing on like crunchy things. Okay. No more. Thanks very much again. Big round of applause. That was really insightful.
Que la famille